No one in the audience that evening could have imagined what was about to unfold on Stephen Colbert's show when the legendary Sylvester Stallone took the guest chair. The night started as one of excitement and energy, with fans expecting to hear stories from Stallone's action-packed life, his upcoming projects, and maybe a few classic Rocky or Rambo tales. But within minutes, the atmosphere took a strange turn. Stephen Colbert, in his usual humorous and sarcastic style, made a comment that hit an unexpected nerve with Stallone. It began when Colbert jokingly suggested that Stallone had been milking the Rocky franchise for too long, and wondered aloud if the star ever planned to play anything other than an aging fighter or action hero. The audience laughed awkwardly, sensing something uncomfortable in Stallone's tightened smile. The veteran actor sat upright, cleared his throat, and gave Colbert a sharp look that didn't go unnoticed. What was supposed to be a light-hearted chat was suddenly charged with tension, and every eye in the studio was fixed on the unfolding drama. Sylvester Stallone, not known for losing his temper on live television, tried to keep his composure. He smiled stiffly and answered that playing Rocky had been one of the greatest privileges of his life, and that he was proud of it. But Colbert, perhaps not reading Stallone's mood carefully, kept pressing the same point, making fun of the fact that the Rocky character had seen more comebacks than most boxers in real life. He teased, "Are we expecting Rocky to come out of retirement again in a wheelchair for one last fight?" The audience chuckled nervously. Stallone's face darkened. He leaned in and said in a firm, low voice that maybe Colbert should worry more about his own stale jokes than about Stallone's career choices. The crowd gasped audibly. This wasn't part of the script. Colbert tried to laugh it off, but there was an unmistakable edge in Stallone's tone that made it clear he wasn't playing along anymore. The tension in the room was so thick you could almost cut it with a knife. Colbert then made what would turn out to be the fatal mistake of the evening. In a move that probably seemed funny in his writer's room but disastrous in real time, he joked about Stallone's age and physical shape. He quipped, "I heard you turn down the Expendables 5 because they refused to shoot it in a retirement home. Is that true?" Laughter erupted awkwardly, but immediately died as Stallone's reaction became clear. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed, and for a moment there was total silence. The action star slowly turned toward Colbert and said, "Listen, funny man, I've done more in my life than you could dream of. When you're done hiding behind a desk making jokes about people who've lived real lives, maybe you'll understand what it means to fight for something." Colbert raised his eyebrows in surprise, realizing he had pushed the wrong button, but the damage was done. Stallone was clearly seething. His hands clenched on the chair's arms, and the air in the studio felt frozen. The audience didn't know how to react. Clap, laugh, stay quiet. Meanwhile, Colbert, visibly flustered, tried to save the situation by saying, "Oh, come on, Sly, you know I'm just messing around. Everyone loves Rocky and everyone loves you." But Stallone wasn't having any of it. He leaned closer to Colbert and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Maybe I'm tired of being made the punchline in everyone's joke. You think I've spent 40 years in this business just to be laughed at by some late-night clown?" Colbert's smile faltered. He opened his mouth to speak, but Stallone cut him off. "You know what? I don't need this." With that, Stallone began unhooking his microphone. The studio was stunned into silence. The producers scrambled backstage, whispering into their headsets, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let this shocking moment play out. Just as Stallone was about to rise from his chair, Colbert tried to salvage the segment by offering an apology of sorts. He said, "Sly, I didn't mean to offend you. We all respect what you've done. You've inspired millions. I'm just doing my thing here. It's what the audience expects." But Stallone wasn't convinced. "No, they expect honesty, not cheap shots. And I expect respect," he replied firmly. The studio lights seemed harsh as Stallone stood up, removed his mic completely, and turned toward the exit. The audience gasped again, some pulling out their phones in hopes of capturing the moment. Colbert, left sitting awkwardly at his desk, gave a weak chuckle and muttered, "Well, folks, it looks like the champ's out of here." But no one laughed this time. It was clear something real and raw had just happened. Something that couldn't be brushed off with a punchline. Backstage sources reported that once Stallone left the stage, he was furious. He reportedly yelled at his manager about why he had agreed to appear on the show in the first place. Crew members overheard him saying that late-night hosts think they can get away with mocking anyone and everyone without consequence, but not him. Meanwhile, Colbert remained at his desk, shuffling papers nervously. As the show cut to an abrupt commercial break, the control room was in chaos, producers debating whether to resume the show or wrap it up early. News of the incident began spreading, almost instantly. Audience members who had been live tweeting the event described it as awkward, shocking, and unforgettable. Clips from the live feed, though quickly cut off, began circulating on social media within minutes. Hashtags like G-Shark Stallone storms out and Ish Colbert v. Stallone began trending worldwide. Soon after, both Stallone's and Colbert's representatives issued statements to the press. Stallone's team defended the actor, claiming that he had been deeply disrespected by repeated ageist and career-insulting remarks, and had every right to leave. They emphasized Stallone's legendary status in Hollywood and his contribution to cinema over decades. Colbert's side, meanwhile, released a more measured response, saying that the show is known for its satirical tone and that no harm or insult had been intended. They insisted that Colbert had tried to defuse the situation, but that Stallone took the jokes more personally than expected. Neither side apologized outright, and this only fueled public debate further. Commentators, celebrities, and fans all weighed in, some siding with Stallone for standing up against mockery, while others criticized him for being unable to handle humor that came with being a public figure. Within hours, entertainment news outlets ran the story on every platform. YouTube was flooded with reaction videos, breakdowns, and opinion pieces, analyzing every word and gesture from the confrontation. Some pointed out that Stallone had been sensitive about jokes regarding his age in previous interviews as well, while others claimed Colbert should have known better than to push those buttons. Meanwhile, fans of Stallone praised him for defending his legacy and showing that even big stars have boundaries that shouldn't be crossed for laughs. Rumors began swirling that Stallone had canceled upcoming appearances on other talk shows, not wanting to risk another embarrassing encounter. Colbert, on the other hand, faced criticism for potentially damaging his relationship with Hollywood royalty. The incident had become bigger than anyone could have predicted, turning into a full-blown PR nightmare. Some insiders speculated that this clash could even affect Stallone's upcoming projects. Studio executives were reportedly concerned that the negative press might impact the promotion of his latest film. Marketing teams scrambled to shift the narrative, releasing new trailers and positive behind-the-scenes footage to remind fans of Stallone's enduring appeal. Meanwhile, Colbert's producers faced pressure to mend fences with other potential celebrity guests, who might now think twice before appearing on a show that had sparked such controversy. The tension rippled through the industry, with publicists on both coasts advising their clients to tread carefully. Some observers even wondered whether the late-night talk show format itself was becoming outdated, too reliant on sarcasm and ridicule at a time when stars were demanding more respect and sincerity. As the dust settled, speculation swirled about whether Stallone and Colbert would reconcile publicly. Some hoped for a staged makeup appearance where both could laugh off the incident, restoring their public images. Others doubted such a moment would ever come, given the depth of the insult and Stallone's fierce pride. For now, Stallone remained silent, focusing on his film work, while Colbert awkwardly joked about losing the Italian stallion in his next monologue, though the laughter was forced and thin. Fans remained divided, and the debate raged on across social media. Was this simply a misunderstanding blown out of proportion, or had it revealed something deeper about the growing gap between Hollywood veterans and the new age of ironic, often biting humor? One thing was certain. The image of Sylvester Stallone walking off that stage in silence had etched itself permanently into the history of late-night television, leaving behind questions that no amount of spin or press statements could easily answer.